So, it's great to see that there are still some people around. We talked about it already backstage, that there are probably everybody's drinking now. But I hope I can enjoy you with some very nice insights about a new technology that's coming up. And maybe if you are really in the business, it's not that new. I myself, I'm from the Fraunhofer Institut, where we are running a blockchain lab since many years. Mainly focusing on blockchain and Web3 applications, not on any crypto stuff. So it's a bigger contrast to the talk just before. So we are looking at how businesses, SMEs, and other companies can really make use of blockchain technologies. And this is what we are doing there in our research group. So the research group that I'm running there is really focusing on three different aspects. Basically, it was cooperation systems. And actually, we did a lot on web-based cooperation in the Web 2 area. And we are moving now to Web 3 because we see Web 3 more as a secure and trusted cooperation environment for companies, users, and with the economy of things, also with things. And that's somehow just a nice translation or transition that we took there from pure web-based cooperation to Web 3-based cooperation, just beyond any crypto business. The second thing is what we are doing is we invest a lot in mixed reality stuff. And the third one is that we have a lot of technologies available that provide connectivity in rural areas. So it's 5G, it's Wi-Fi based, it's LoRaWAN, we come to that later on, technologies that we invest in. And sometimes we say, well, somehow we are also the metaverse department, because we think that the metaverse is actually grounded in Web3, in XR, and in connectivity. So since a few years, we are now running a special lab, not that far from here. Yesterday, we had a nice conference there. We called it the Tech Fusion Conference. And this is located just outside the city limits here in Hürth, just south. It's an old TV area, so it's where actually the private TV actually was born. And there we are running this kind of blockchain Reallabor, where we try to bring these new technologies to normal users, really to educate people on how to use blockchain technologies and Web3, but also to companies. And it's not that easy, actually. I mean, really to convince a normal, traditional company to apply any Web3 technologies is not that easy. But we think with the economy of things, there may be a new way to engage them. And at the end, I have an example how this actually can work to get even a very traditional city government into the Web3 area. So, but what do we think about economy of things? And there are a few definitions around, and we didn't develop one ourselves. So I took one from Peak. It's a consortia, it's an association actually located in Singapore. And what they say, it's actually a clever combination of IoT. IoT is well known, Internet of Things. We have devices connected to the internet. We all know it from our home automation and from a lot of other things, from our watches and gadgets. Now we can equip these different things with some autonomous capabilities, AI. So we combine IoT with AI. We even can connect them to some very simple large language models, really to analyze the data that they do. So for example, there are IoT devices around that have enough capabilities to detect anomalies in sound, anomalies in some wavelines or things like that, so that you can do some remote maintenance and remote error detection. And then the third thing is really that we talk about Web3. And this enables now the different devices to become economically independent. Yeah, so we get independence of devices because they have their own identity, they can make their own transactions, and they can have a secure combination with other devices. And they can make you some offers. They can make you an offer that when you buy them, they can maybe invest in themselves. They can provide their own business to you, or they can even pay for themselves. Because in the Web3, there are some smart contracts behind that follow special guidelines or special rules that have been established. So actually, some people say it's the economy of things is where IoT meets the Web3 plus some kind of AI that makes these different things autonomous. And there's another nice differentiation where we can see the Internet of Things versus the economy of things. And you saw I used Del-E to draw these two pictures. And I asked Del-E, please draw me a picture of the Internet of Things, the left one. And I asked it then, please draw me an image of the economy of things. And I got the right one. There is not that much difference, actually, isn't it? I mean, so maybe the AI does not really understand what the big difference is, but IoT devices, they collect data. They collect data and they put it into a cloud of a particular vendor. We all know that. We can all buy very cool devices for our home automation. Light bulbs, sensors for humidity, for temperature, actuators, for switches. Where are they connected to? They are connected to a cloud somewhere in China, USA, maybe even Germany, but they deliver the data into that cloud. And you provide value for this particular provider. You provide the value for the cloud provider. Therefore, these devices are very often quite cheap because you deliver your home data to them. Could also be health trackers. Yeah, my watch here is actually delivering data to Apple, and they make probably a lot of benefit out of it. So you have this vendor lock. In the economy of things, the devices sell data to an open, decentralized market. And that is what a lot of nerds do. Well, I also have a lot of devices in my home, but I all cut them off from the cloud. Yeah, there are a lot of tutorials where you really can see how you can cut them off from the cloud so that they deliver the data to yourself. And then you can sell this data in a decentralized market to other people. You just offer the data. If people are interested in it, they buy the device for the data. The device earns some money, and by that, the device pays off over some time. Maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, maybe in half a year. And this is where the blockchain really makes the difference. The blockchain as a decentralized network, they are vendor neutral. And they provide the interoperability versus the different silos in the different vendor locks. So that's the big promise, actually, and that is where we move from the different steps, and maybe you have seen this kind of diagrams already several times. This is where we get into this token economy, where the devices earn tokens, where the devices have an identity, maybe represented as a token, and where the devices can own something. And where the ownership of the data and the devices is with you, with your identity. So it's a very nice identity framework and very nice identity network, where you have an identity, the devices have an identity, and the tokens are being used to prove that and also to sell the different data. So here is an example that you can also visit in our lab. We call it the Smart City Showcase. And this particular thing is somehow also a combination of metaverse and Web3, and actually also the economy of things. What does it show? It shows a traffic light. And the traffic light normally operates nicely, but sometimes it breaks down. But when it breaks down, it recognizes itself as broken. So it's not that broken that it doesn't recognize that anymore, but it's recognizing there are some issues with my light, recognizing with my connectivity or whatever. It reforms repair shops because it has some repair shops registered with a certain identity. So there are trusted repair shops with an identity registered with the device. It obtains offers. It evaluates the offers by some smart contract rules. And this is not AI. I mean, this is very simple. Who's the cheapest and who's the fastest? Yeah, there's nothing with AI. Some simple rules. You can't put AI in a smart contract. And then it orders the repair. It recognizes that the repair has been done, and then it triggers the payment. And by that, you have a very simple smart city application running in an economy of things. And it also nicely combines the metaverse stuff because we have a real traffic light beside, which is interconnected to the VR stuff and things like that. But there is another example, and that is actually an example running already since several years where you can make money. So is anybody already running a helium miner? Are there some helium owners? There is someone? No, not yet. So I can convince you of buying maybe something. I'm not involved with this. The idea is the following. Imagine that you want to build up a wireless network, a worldwide wireless network where everybody can send data without registering with a wireless access point, without having a 5G GSM card or things like that. You just have a device, it can send data. And there is a standard for that. It's LoRaWAN. And it's heavily used by a lot of people for sensor networks. But how do you bring the antennas, how do you bring the access points into the community? There is nothing like a German Telekom or so who is setting up antennas. It's completely community built. But how can you do that? You incentivize the community. You offer antennas, miners, and gateways. They are about 200 euros. You install them, you connect them to your local internet, and from then on, they are part of the sensor network. So they connect to the sensor network, and they provide connectivity for a lot of sensors all around. And you earn. And you can see the earnings are about 100 to 500 tokens a day. So there is a payback after 2 to 11 years. It depends on your connectivity, actually. We have one of these miners in our institute on a big antenna, 50 meters up. He paid himself off. I have one in my house, and I think he needs 5 to 10 years to pay off. But it's a very nice thing in general. This is the coverage of Cologne. Yeah, so there you see the antennas in Cologne. You see there are quite a few, in particular in the city center. And there is the south of Cologne, which is Fürth, our hometown. And there you see also some test drives that a colleague of mine did, where he was driving around the city to see, do I have connectivity? And you see sometimes he is in the city center of Fürth, but he's connecting to an antenna somewhere here in Cologne, maybe someone on a large building. You see, it's a completely community-based infrastructure to provide connectivity for sensor networks. So IoT based on LoRaWAN, based on a Web3-based infrastructure. And there you see the earnings. Yeah? That's my particular miner, and there you see the earnings. It's not that much, yeah? But it's nice to see that it's just earning money just by operating it. At least it's earning more than the electricity that it uses. But here's the point. What can you do with it? And this is now where it comes that the economy of things is something where you even can enter a very traditional governance business. That's a colleague of mine, and what we are experimenting with is just that we equip dustbins with a sensor, and the sensor is just collecting the level of the dustbin. That's all. And normally the dustbins in our town, they are collected on a particular route. Sometimes they are full, sometimes they are empty, but the mayor of our town, he wants to have a very clean city. There are elections next year, yeah? So he wants to have a very clean city. So he says, well, that's a cool idea. We now equip them with a LoRaWAN sensor, measuring the fill level of the dustbin. And the level is just reported via LoRaWAN to this helium network. And the funny thing is now that the network is provided by the citizens of the city to provide a service of the city. And sometimes it's even the citizens of another city, maybe of Cologne, they provide the network for an infrastructure running in a neighborhood. Yeah, they won't do it for Düsseldorf, yeah? So obviously, so we don't have this connection between Düsseldorf, but for Fürth it's okay as a small town. So the citizens provide actually the connectivity for the city management. And everybody has a benefit of it. The helium miners, they earn money. The mayor has a clean city. The city government has a new technology they can play with, and everybody is getting into the newspaper. So there are some other examples for that around. So for example, there is a weather station that you can buy, and this weather station is then operating, and it's delivering weather data to a network, and you get paid for the weather data. And you get particular weather services. There are other things around, like Fetch AI, the Peak network, and other things. And if you are really interested, they all provide a lot of nice programming tutorials and nice programming means to run these different things. So you really can run it on your computer, you can run it on a Raspberry Pi, you can really play around with that, and then you become a member of this network, and you can make your devices at home part of the economy of things. So the technology that is enabling that is actually IoT, that's around, Web3, it's running, AI, more than simple rules, yeah, a little bit more. Shall I care? Yes, you should care if you want to get rid of silos, if you want to get rid of vendor locks. And very often we say we have lost the war for social data, but we shouldn't lose this for our machinery data, for our really business data. We shouldn't put it all into the cloud of some vendors. And you can really make an incentivization for your customers that run your devices and that provide data of your devices. How to start? Analyze your business. Do you have any devices that can be IoT enabled, that can become part of the economy of things? And the next step is actually the invitation. Visit us in our blockchain Reallabor, just 10 kilometers south of here, or contact me afterwards, and then we can show you a lot of these different things. We are running helium miners, helium sensors, and a lot of other things. And maybe we can develop something nicely together, and we can help you to bring your business forward, because as a public administration, as a public research institute, we don't follow any particular business goals there. Our mission is really to bring this technology into business. I hope I could convince you that this is a very nice step, and I wish you a nice evening, and stay here, there is another nice talk going on. Bye-bye.